Hi Scorpio, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your February 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each of those cards representing a house of the zodiac. Starting with your sign, Scorpio, is the first house, all the way through to the 12th house represented by Libra. And once we get through all that, we'll pull an oracle card to help put a bow on the reading. As far as the decks being used this month, for the main tarot deck, we have the Hermetic Tarot, and for the Oracle deck, we have the Wisdom of the Oracle. But we're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have over to the right. So let's get that started. Alright, so we have Uranus, and Uranus is still in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, contracts, and that can definitely point to some sudden shifts in that area of life. So we'll keep that in mind when we start talking about the 7th house. We also have Virgo. So for you guys, Virgo is your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes. And astrologically speaking, we have the South Node there currently, but other than that, it's a little bit more quiet. Of course, when we get to March, though, there will be a full moon eclipse in there, so you could definitely start to feel the rumblings of that as we move through February. And we have 3. So third house energy for you guys is actually Capricorn. Astrologically speaking, that's a little quiet right now as well, but third house in general points to communication, short journeys, and siblings. And of course, there will be a Mercury retrograde on February 26th. And of course, the shadow period will start before that. So definitely could have an impact on communication. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. All right, so for the first house representing personality, self-awareness, we have the 2 of Swords. This is Libra energy. This deck is referred to as the Lord of Peace Restored. So what I'm getting from this, especially given that Libra energy is naturally 12th house energy for you guys, could just be saying that you might finally feel like you have more mental clarity this month, right? Maybe you've been stuck in your head about something that was just replaying over and over in your mind. And now as we progress through February, you might feel like you finally have that clarity that might have eluded you for a while. So of course, that's a good place to be when you're not stuck in your head constantly. All right, for the second house, which points to generally possession, self-worth, finances, we have the 4 of Pentacles. So this is a Capricorn energy here. In this deck, it's referred to as the Lord of Earthly Power. So, you know, in some decks, it's referred to as the miser type of energy, but here I feel like it's more of an energy of discernment, right? Where you guys can be very smart about where you invest your resources, whether that be your time, your energy, your actual money. So it feels like that's going to be something you give thought to before actually taking action on anything. All right, so third house, which as we mentioned came up with the dice too, we have the 8 of Cups. So this is actually a Pisces energy here. In this deck, it's referred to as the Lord of Abandoned Success. So again, going back to connecting to what I was saying as far as it feels like you guys might finally not be getting stuck in your heads around something, I feel like this is ultimately saying that when it comes to communication, right? If you feel like you've been having a conversation with someone over and over again, they're just not getting the point, right? This might finally be the month where you say, you know what? I did my part, tried to get my point across. If they're still not getting it, I'm just letting it go, right? So it could be something like that to where you're going to realize. And again, we could tie into second house energy too, right? Where, like we said, it looks like you're going to be very discerning about where you place your time, your energy, your resources this month. So it seems to be relating to that. Maybe even just leaving rooms where you don't feel like you're appreciated. All right. So representing the 4th house of home, roots, and family, we have the Lovers. So this is major arcana card for Gemini. This deck is referred to as the Children of the Voice Divine. So for some of you, this could just be saying you might find like you're connecting more strongly with your family, right? Maybe just close ties. So even if not blood relatives, right? Maybe people you've known for a long time, people you might go back with, to the point of maybe you were friends as children, and now that you're grown, right? You're still in close contact with each other, or even if you aren't normally, if you reconnect with those people, you might feel like that affinity's still there. But yeah, definitely seems like within your home environment, you're going to be feeling comfortable this month for sure. All right, so representing the fifth house, which points to, generally speaking, romance, creativity, children, we have the Magician. So as you can see, this points to mercurial energy in this deck, and of course, your fifth house is Pisces, and we were just talking about how there's actually going to be a Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So even before that, though, it could just be saying that even during a shadow period, no less, Pisces, let me see, Mercury moves in there right at the end of the first week of February. So once that hits, you might feel like it's really sparking your creative ideas, right? So even if you don't put them out into the open yet, I feel like you're going to start feeling that flow of ideas coming to you. And so maybe this is also pointing to if you had some kind of a blockage with that, right? Where maybe you were trying to get creative projects off the ground and you were getting stuck. This could just be saying that maybe that's going to help clear that blockage up for you guys. And of course, if this is around romance as well, this could just be saying that you might be communicating well in that area. All right, so for the sixth house, representing health, work, and daily routines, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is actually Capricorn energy here, and it's pretty strong energy to have for your sixth house. In this deck, it's referred to as the Queen of the Thrones of Earth. So yeah, I feel like this is saying you're taking a very practical, grounded approach to your routines, your health, right? Maybe your work lives, which would tie in with that Four of Pentacles energy we're seeing as well, also Capricorn energy in the second house. So yeah, I feel like this is just saying that you're just taking a nice structured approach to things this month. And like I said, it seems like that has to do with you really just being precise about knowing where you're going to invest your resources, like we said, whether that be actual money or your time, your energy, which are other forms of currency, of course. All right, seventh house, we saw the Uranus energy and talked about how that's basically where it is, still in Taurus for you guys. And in the seventh house energy, we see the Five of Swords. And it won't even focus, so that's quite fitting there too, right? So yeah, it's technically an Aquarius energy, which interestingly enough is the ruler of Uranus, and in this deck it's referred to as the Lord of Defeat. So this could actually be tying into what I was saying with the Eight of Cups energy, right? Where I was saying, if you feel like you've had the same conversation with someone over and over and it's just not getting through to them, you might finally decide this month, like, you know what? Been there, done that. I'm done. I'm not going to keep repeating myself over and over. So for some of you, this could be playing out in your relationships, right? So for some of you, it could be a romantic relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could just be a business partnership as well. But yeah, it looks like you might just feel like you're not going to keep engaging in this repetitive cycle that leads nowhere this month. All right, so for the eighth house, which in general points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Princess of Pentacles. And in this deck, it's referred to as the Princess of the Echoing Hills. So yeah, primarily what I'm getting with this is probably going to be around investments, because like we talked about with the Four of Pentacles, right? Where like I said, it seems like you're really thinking things through this month, like being very smart and taking your time when it comes to how you're going to invest, if you're going to invest, right? I feel like this is saying you might feel like it's something a bit new to you, so maybe it's something you typically haven't done, right? So that could be part of why you're being so discerning as well. But that seems to be the right approach to take, right? Is to know that, okay, you might still be learning things when it comes to that area, so you're just going to really take your time and make sure you feel comfortable before making any moves. Okay, in the ninth house, which points generally to philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, we have the Seven of Swords. So this is more Aquarius energy here, and it's referred to as the Lord of Unstable Effort. So what I'm getting from this primarily could just be saying that this might not be the best month for you to learn something brand new. Now some of you can't avoid it, right? Because ninth house pointing to higher learning, right? Could just be saying, let's say for those of you who are in college, you can't just say to your professor, yeah, I'm just going to take the month off. I'll see you guys in March, right? So it's not to say that you could just ditch the idea completely, but I feel like this is saying that it might not be the best time to really try to drill down on something because you might feel like you're not retaining the information as well as you might normally do so. And again, that could be pointing to what we were saying with the Mercury retrograde coming in. But yeah, I feel like this is just saying with unstable effort, right? Could just be saying that you might know as well, right? Like you might sit down one day, like, yeah, you know what? I could totally knock this out for a couple hours. Other days you might feel like, yeah, you know what? I just don't have it. So I feel like this is saying maybe even just trust that, right? Trust yourself that if you just know before you even sit down to do it, that's just not going to sit with you. It's not going to stick. Might be best to put it off for another day. All right. In the 10th house, which points to career and social status, we have the 10 of Pentacles. So definitely a good energy to see here. This is Virgo energy, and it points to the Lord of Wealth in this deck. So sounds pretty positive, right? And again, like I said, I feel like this is one of those things where it looks like we mentioned you're being discerning and realizing, what your weak spots might be, if any, and saying, okay, because of that, I'm going to take my time, really make sure I'm feeling good with the decisions I'm making. Could just be saying that, yeah, you might not suddenly become wealthy this month, right? But it could just be saying that the moves that you're putting into place could ultimately lead to this goal. And of course, yeah, I can't rule out that maybe one or two of you might win the lotto, right? So if so, congratulations. So for the 11th house, which as we mentioned is Virgo for you guys, we have the Two of Wands. So this is Aries energy here, and it's referred to as the Lord of Dominion. So for somebody, this could be maybe entering into a new partnership, right? Or interacting with a new group that you typically haven't interacted with, or even just solidifying an existing bond within a friend group. That you might feel like it's an equal partnership, right? So you might feel like the two of you just make a good team. So whether that be partnering up for business or just, bouncing ideas off each other, or even just making a more conscious effort to be around this person if you've just been more casual friends over the years. I feel like this is saying that could pick up some momentum for you guys this month. All right. And in the 12th house, which in general points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health, we have the Eight of Swords. So Gemini energy here as well. And in this deck, it's referred to as the Lord of Shortened Force. So yeah, so again, like I said, this could just be one of those things where your attention might not be really locked in for extended periods of time. So especially like think about it with the Lord of Peace restored, right? Maybe you've gone through that period of being stuck in your head around things and now you're finally letting that go, right? So if that's the case, then yeah, your brain's probably not going to be ready for you to just jump in and like, oh, I'm going to read this 300-page textbook in 2 days, right? And retain all the information in it. So it could just be saying, it's just one of those things where you might have cleared your head, which is great, right? But you're not going to overwhelm yourself either. Or if you try to do so, you might find that, okay, yeah, I'm not retaining information as quickly as I like right now. Or I feel like I can't focus my attention on these things to the level I like. So you might just need to pace yourself a bit. And again, like we said, a lot of people are going to be feeling that in general with the Mercury retrograde, especially given that it's in Pisces, which is already a tricky energy for Mercury anyway. All right, bottom of the deck, we have the Seven of Wands, which is Leo energy, and it says Lord of Valor. So, if you think of the traditional artwork for the Seven of Wands in a lot of decks, it looks like someone who's in a conflict, but they have the higher ground, right? So they're able to overcome that conflict and come out the victor. So I feel like this is saying that even if you have had some difficulties, right? Which, like we said, could be the case given what we see in the first house. And then what we were talking about with the 9th house, the 12th house. I feel like this is saying you will find that you're finally coming out on the other side of that this month. We'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix, though. So, like I mentioned, we're just going to pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So I'm just going to use this a few more shuffles, then I'll cut the deck and we'll pull a card that way. Okay. So we'll take this card here, get this out of the way, And let's see. We have 2 to see. There we go. There's the artwork, and the number is 7. So we'll see what this has to say. All right. Essential meanings says being in flow, returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. The Oracle's message: isn't it wonderful when you feel yourself in the flow of life, when events and conditions seem to engage you in a way that is fluid and effortless? This card reminds you that going with the flow is exactly what you need to be doing right now. Ride the wave of opportunity formed by perfect conditions. Allow trust and faith to guide you forward as you flow like a river into the sea of life. Yeah, definitely a positive message there. And it did make me realize as I was reading it that there aren't really a whole lot of cup energies here, right? Which, of course, that's your suit, other than the Eight of Cups in the communication um, house. But yeah, hopefully the message resonated either way. The relationship message says there are points in a relationship when you have to decide to go with the flow rather than dictate the course you share with another. Can you let go of the need to have things your way and allow the relationship itself, your combined goals and desires, to steer your ship? Can you both transcend your personalities and allow the partnership to form its own identity, its own energy? Now is the time to relax and see where this mutual journey leads. So interesting message there, right? Because seeing the bit of a dramatic energy we saw with the 7th house, right? Where I was seeing this is probably one of those things where you might feel like it's a repetitive conversation you've had with someone where you don't feel like having it anymore. Maybe this is just saying that once you do release that, that need, you might find that things start to naturally loosen up for some people. Excuse me. The prosperity message says everything seems to work out when you stop scrambling and allow the sea of opportunities to wash over you and wake you up to your most prosperous potential. To get into that flow, you need to address your beliefs about abundance and money. The true meaning of your personal currency lies in your skills, your talents and abilities, and most importantly, your core beliefs. Everything flows from your inner world and is reflected in the outer one. When grateful to serve, you align your prosperity consciousness with a higher consciousness, you can expect miracles. Everything you need will come to you easily. So definitely an interesting message there, right? Because like I said, it seems like you could be coming out of this energy of being stuck in your head around something. It looks like you're being discerning when it comes to your finances. We do see the 10 of Pentacles in the 10th house. So yeah, it could just be saying you might be coming out of a tricky cycle when it comes to prosperity and finances. And it looks like you could be seeing improvement as early as this month. So hopefully that resonates for you guys. We'll wrap up there. All right, bye.